what you want.
Welcome back, everybody,
And
to No Means No
you
Thing,
getting what
No
you
Means Nothing
need.
podcast. The podcast where three absolute fucking idiots do their very, very best to try to find and identify the very best No Means No song of all time. Spoilers, there isn't one. I'm one of your hosts, Jordan.
I'm Matthew. Hello.
I'm Michelle.
And we are joined today. Yes, we've brought on a guest, as we are intending to do for most of these episodes. A very special guest who you've all met once before on the podcast. And let's not fucking beat around the bush. You all know him. You all love him. You're all begging for copies in advance of this book, which you will not get.
No.
Mr. Jason Lamb.
You pay
welcome
double.
To the podcast. Yes.
Hello.
We have-
Hey, thanks for having me again. I'm
Absolutely.
surprised you invited me back.
We are
Oh,
elaborating our structure.
Oh,
right.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
Got
Yeah.
it. Already in with the lamb.
Wah, wah.
Haven't heard
That's all right.
those before.
No. Hey, I had to get Chuck with his woodchuck. How much wood would a woodchuck? You don't
Yeah,
escape.
that's
You don't escape. No one escapes the dad jokes on this fucking podcast, motherfucker. So,
Fair.
I don't know, guys. It's a little weird to be diving back into the podcast after having our last thing be interviewing Rob. It kind of feels like skipping to the end
Yeah.
of the podcast in a
Yeah,
little bit. But on the other hand, I'm glad to get back.
Downslope.
Yeah. No, I'm
You're
looking forward
saying that like I'm just like an afterthought. Like there's no way you could possibly.
Oh, I'm
It's the
I'm
best we
don't
could
you?
do.
excited about this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm absolutely saying that, Jason.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will, you know the drill, everybody out there. We're going to go ahead and get started. But before we do that, we are going to play our favorite game, The Power of Positive Drinking. I go first because you all know what I'm going to have. But again, I want to say I'm taking the second dose of a different vintage by a friend of the pod, Michael Pollard, who sent me this nifty little snifter of a Marniac. And this
Nifty
one
snifter.
was
Nifty snifter.
Domine di Joy from 1990, I think. And it smells delicious. Now,
Is that
when I
is
was
that Marcus Pollard's brother?
It is.
Yeah.
yeah, it must be.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
It
So
It's not.
No,
It
no,
isn't?
Oh, okay.
It is not.
So there you go. No, Michael.
Oh,
I
I
mean, not
thought they
Michael.
were
Matthew knows him. So here we
He
go.
was we were co-hosts on CFUV for 9 years.
That's right.
Okay.
His elder brother is actually named Matthew as well.
Oh, nice.
No
Oh, wow.
relation.
No relation.
Because I know Marcus has a brother that actually lives in the States. He's like in the film industry, but I couldn't remember his name. So okay, no, that's not him.
Nope.
Never mind then.
All
But-
right, I
Although
thought
Mike
Michael-
Pollard does live in the States.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. Michael, if you're listening, this shit's fucking great. And I think I made it sound last time like he bought me a $250 bottle of a Marniac. That's not true.
Well,
He sent me a little snifter of it in
like an
one of
airline
those,
bottle.
airline bottles of a vintage that is a good vintage. So I'm going to drink this and enjoy
But
it.
he's welcome to send you a $250.
No,
bottle.
nobody is welcome to do that. That is fucking crazy and insane. And please, nobody do that. It would make me feel horrible for the rest of my life. So, Strangey, you're up. What you got?
I don't have a $250 bottle. I have the Lord's Tears. my Guinness in my genius glass that was sent to me by Ian from England.
Give it to
Oh,
me,
wait.
baby.
Oh, too late.
But I didn't do it right.
Blew your
Michelle,
wad.
you always
Blew
have
your
Guinness,
wad
eh?
too early.
Just always,
I
every time.
love fucking
Wait,
Guinness.
I didn't hear the
know.
pop and
I'm
fizz.
sorry.
Oh, sorry, that was my
That
fault.
is no, it's
No,
not.
I don't. I think I opened it away
That's like
from the
fucking
microphone.
coitus interruptus for this podcast. God damn it! All right,
Yes.
Guinness interrupt us?
Guinness interruptus. Always count on Matthew. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we always leave Matthew for last. So, Jason, we're going to ask you, what are you drinking?
Yeah. Well, I just picked this up on the way down to the
Matthew,
studio,
watch.
and I thought this was apropos. This is Revenge.
Oh!
This is brand new product from Phillips, which is probably the most popular brewery here in Victoria, British
Oh,
Columbia,
shit.
Canada.
Oh, wow.
It's called a cold IPA, and it's 7% alcohol, so I'm a little concerned. But I don't know if you can see. I know this is an audio podcast, but there's all these little lovely flowers. But then
That's
there's like a
beautiful.
time bomb and a butcher knife and a dagger and stuff all hiding in the flowers.
That's fucking great. That's the
Isn't
no
that
me
cool?
no. That's the no means noest cover. Like
That's what I thought.
possible beer
Yeah.
cover.
Also, one
Yeah.
of my absolute favorite songs by No Means No is Revenge. So
Yeah.
How
Fucking
about
A.
that?
there we go.
Nice.
Let's see how I've never tried.
Yeah, give it a taste. What's your review?
Mmm,
Sweet revenge.
vengeful. No, it's very good. Yeah.
IPA.
Oh God, it's strong.
That's where.
Gotta
That's
get
why
an
the end
Uber
of the.
home.
That's why the end of the podcast is always better, because we're always at
Right.
the bottom of our
God.
beers and drinks.
Yeah.
Matthew's
All right,
lamb puns will get way better by the
That's
end.
right.
Indeed. Well,
Matt-
started
Or
out
worse.
with that high level. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything particularly exciting, but it's kind of nice actually. With all of my honey and guava and pork cracklings that had gone into my other beers, this one's just your standard water, malt, hops, and yeast, and it is the Ridge Runner Pilsner from Backcountry Brewing in Squamish, British Columbia,
Ooh, nice.
which
Hey.
is a little town on the way to a much more famous little town of Whistler, British Columbia. So,
That's right.
Sweet.
yeah, I'm actually
How about
super into
that?
the fact that a lot of breweries are making just plain old Pilsners lately. So, we'll see how this
Yeah.
one goes.
Excellent. Very
All
good.
right.
You didn't
Well-
really have a
Cheers,
beer
big
with,
ears.
Yeah, cheers,
Sorry,
everybody.
cheers. You didn't really have a beer with pork cracklings in it, did you?
I will never tell.
That was the episode that just crashed. Unfortunately, we never
Right.
got it on air, probably because of the pork cracklings. Well, everybody out there, if you've got something to drink, you know what to do. Crack it open. If you're around the fire, if you're on the toilet, we don't care if you drink on the toilet. If you're walking Teddy, the dog, I hope you are. He deserves all the walks and cuddles and scritchies.
Yeah.
And just don't pop one open while you're driving. You know the drill. So let's get into it, everybody. We've got 4 really fucking great songs, but you know what the secret is? This is round 2, so all the songs are fucking good. There are no more songs left that could possibly end up on the cutting room floor, and so by definition, it fucking sucks. It
Yeah.
fucking sucks to
I
be
got a
putting these
problem with
songs
this.
against each other.
I got problems with this.
I mean, listen, there'll be some songs I won't be so sad to see go as others, but they're still all bangers. So we are going to dive into round 1 here.
Okay.
Our first round this week is Oh No, Bruno off of Wrong, 1989. And a little reminder, this is actually a people's choice.
Yeah,
This
it is.
did end up on the cutting room floor, and all of you decided, fuck you, podcasters,
Yeah.
and voted to bring it back.
I was
So-
one of those people. I
As
was
it should
absolutely
be, as it
destroyed that
should
you guys
be.
didn't keep
And
that
it-
one.
I know. I
lost-
was embarrassed for them. I was
It
embarrassed
lost.
for them.
It lost to a little too high, which I think a lot of people would go like, "You're fucking high for doing that." But I
Right.
still would defend that choice, frankly. But
Oh,
any
you're
event,
insane.
I know. Let's get. This is what we're going to get into it when we get into this round because it's going to be
Oh,
fucking great to
God.
talk about.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
don't say it. Don't say it.
however, it is going up against absolute classic and
Oh, God.
Michelle's top
Oh.
song in the pantheon. Tired of Waiting.
Oh.
Also off of Wrong, 1989. What the fuck?
Oh, dear.
Now, Tired of Waiting put out Slowly Melting, which I think is also a people's choice and will be coming back, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Or
it
it
did.
fucking should be. Yeah. Because
was
that
on my
song
list.
also slays. Yeah, me too. So we've got Oh No Bruno versus Tired of
This,
Waiting.
I can't do
Wrong versus wrong. 2 wrongs make a right. All the fucking jokes you want. Now, before we dive into this with Matthew kicking us off, we're going to listen to a little bit of both of these songs back to back so that you can decide.
Too much, stay out all night. Too much, that's alright. Too much, do it. Too much, now do it again. Too much, wait for Steinies. Too much, wait for cash. Too much, whoever shut up. Too much is not enough. Oh no, Bruno. Too much is not enough. Oh no, got tired of waiting. I got tired of waiting. Tired of waiting for news. Tired of waiting for things to improve. Tired of waiting for your letter. Tired of waiting for things to get better. I got tired of waiting. 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 Tired of waiting for the phone. Tired of waiting there all alone. Tired of waiting for something new. I got tired of waiting for you. I got tired of waiting. I got tired of waiting. I got tired of waiting. I got tired.
fucking tired of waiting, Matthew. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, Bruno. It is. I'm gonna do this thing that I've kind of been doing with. We've been more comparing the songs rather than doing a deep dive on each of them. So, just to remind people that the format's going to be a little bit different than it has been. Although we've only done one like this, two like this. I can't remember at this point. Two. So yeah, one thing that I like to add is sort of like, which of these, what kind of a dish it is, or what kind of drink it is compared to each other. So, I was thinking what kind of drug this is as compared to the other one. And I think this song's methamphetamine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Like what?
How do I know that? Well, the feel of it and the fact that it's just about somebody who just keeps on fucking going. It is a Hansen's-y song. It is not a particularly complicated song, but it just goes and does not stop right until the end. And at the end, it feels like it falls off a cliff more than stops. So that may be the story of Bruno himself. It just keeps going until he can't. I think the lyrics,
bunny.
as far as the lyrics relate to the music and how well they are matched with them, they're extremely good, I think. Because, too much is not enough. And that is just the pace of the song. It is already at 11, and it feels like it's going to go faster, and maybe it can't, but it keeps wanting to. And I think that is exactly what Bruno himself is doing. It's just an amped song. Super. Just like this Bruno person is certainly amped himself. I love the bit at the beginning where it's what?
Yeah,
one of my favorite little bits. I always sort of think that the little "what" at the beginning is is what the cat on the cover of Yukimi is thinking. This little question mark.
Nice.
there you go.
Yeah.
What?
Meow. He does have a question mark over his face. Over
why.
his
Yeah,
head.
he
He does.
Yeah. So personal highlights, things I really like about this song. I know I have kind of trashed the more moshy ones before because of my own personal issues, but this is definitely one that people looked forward to. So to get all sweaty and punch each other in the face. I like the pace, actually. I like the pace, how relentless it is. There is not a lot of contrast in this song. It is just really full on. I do like the singing in unison. Which doesn't happen all that often in No Means No songs, which is just pretty cool. I like the mention of that it took a long time for me to figure out, but people who play crib know that they're talking about crib.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty great. Anything that bugs me about this song, I think just maybe previous associations with what is going on in the mosh when the song is playing. That's my own issue, my own foible. Nothing except maybe just the simplicity of it, because it's that's sort of what I got to say about Oh No Bruno.
But now you got to talk about. We're to talk about both at the same time. We're not doing one song at a time here, buddy. I don't think.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Are you comparing?
Okay. Is that how we're
I'm
doing
not
it?
even used to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watching.
Just say something.
Right. So, Tired of Waiting is such an incredibly unique song. It speaks to me as a Victoria boy. And I mean, it's interesting because now I got another Victoria boy on the show. Maybe this thing that I talked about in the show, and I don't know how many of our episodes you've listened to, Jason, but there's this tension in Victoria where there's actually quite a uptight place in a lot of ways, and then a lot of let your freak flag fly. People are pretty accepting of a lot of stuff and then not accepting of a lot of stuff. There's a certain structure, and I think this song is like being like that encapsulated. It's just this sort of tension, this seething energy inside the person, and then it just sort of gets let out. And this song is definitely a match pair with Stock Taking. And I think they're both sort of very, very similar. If Oh No Bruno is meth, this song is way too much coffee and cigarettes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Coffee
That's
and a
why I
king
love
size
it
cigarette.
so much. Perfect.
Yeah.
Both make you have to take a crap.
Oh God.
Yeah, don't forget it.
Yeah.
You know it's true.
things I really like about it. I like the structure. I like how, kind of repetitive it is at the beginning, and then right at the end, it's just, he's almost tripping over himself to talk about all the things which he's tired of waiting for. I really like the fact that we've talked about this before, how they're in like little groups of 4, and it gets sort of really mundane to sort of more serious each time. So it ends up with this interesting mix of, just tired of waiting for the total banal and also tired of waiting for the horrible apocalypse.
The bomb to drop.
Right.
Kind of fantastic. And yeah, the ending, I do like the contrast there. The guitar texture, just how it sort of floats in and out and isn't really being played so much as woven around the song, so much as more than actually playing in it. I like the snare roll right in the middle where John just does this absolutely perfect snare roll. And of course, I always love snarly Goblin Andy in the background. If there's anything that I don't like about this song, it's that it is hard to listen to for me on its own. I think it's very much of a pair with stock taking, so that it kind of lacks something without that if you're just listening to it solo. But that's really about it for that. Yeah.
Great. All right,
Wow.
Jason, why don't you take a stab?
Okay.
Whatever you got.
Well, I will take a stab. I'm not anywhere near as well spoken as Matthew or as
Nobody
intelligent.
is.
Starting with Ono Bruno, Matthew mentioned it was Hanson-y. It was written as a Hanson Brothers song originally, and then brought over to the No Means No canon because it was too good to be a Hanson Brothers song. They wrote it for a real guy named Bruno, who got framed and busted for selling drugs and ended up in jail, and they would go visit him, and they wrote this song in tribute to him.
Oh shit!
I can see this is what I can more do than like tell you
Well, that's
about
good. This
all
is great.
the ins and outs of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, and Matthew's right. There's the references to cribbage. There's references to darts when he says double bullseye, and then Steinies, the Steinlager beers. That's in reference to a bar that used to exist in Victoria in the basement of the Empress Hotel called the Beaver Pub, where they would all hang out together. Bruno was this big bear of a man that everybody loved. He would work the door for early No Means No shows and sell merch and stuff. And then he got himself involved in with some bad people of the motorcycle riding variety, and some bad shit happened, and he ended up going to prison. But he's now not in prison and happy. And I interviewed him for the book. He's a really great guy.
Fuck yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, comparing those two songs, the main big difference to me is like one is basically a Hanson Brothers Fast Ramones song. The other one is an Andy Kerr song, and it's very No Means No-y, staccato kind of stuff that you're used to being a regular kind of a No Means No song. And I know, correct me if I'm sure he probably said this to you already with his corrections, but Tired of Waiting and Stock Taking definitely go together, and they're both kind of about the same thing, which he told me was about being in relationships with people and then being out on the road and having other things in your life that are distracting you from that relationship, and having that person saying, kind of tired of waiting for you to figure it out. And so and then Stock Taking is similar in a similar vein. What else can I tell you? That's kind of about it. I mean,
That's great.
Bruno is alive and well, and living in other
You pretty
parts
much
of
have to be a great
BC.
big bear of a man if you're going to be called Bruno. Either that or tiny
Bruno,
and
I know, right?
tiny,
Yeah.
pugnacious, and French.
Yeah.
That is so fucking on the nose. I can't even handle it. That is just beautiful. That is beautiful.
And there's a fine line between biding one's time and wasting one's
Wasting
time.
one's
Oh,
time.
come
One of the
on,
greatest
guys,
lines
come
they
on.
ever wrote.
All right.
Come on.
So we'll pass it over to Strangey and let her opine on these two
No, I can't.
masterpieces.
Here we go.
This pair up is a tragedy. This is a damn tragedy. It's a sad day today. Each of these tunes represents quintessential avenues of the band, and one is my most favorite of their songs. One of them shows might, and another one blasts into the stratosphere with unbelievable talent, delivery, and attitude. If I can read my words here, I know in the past we had to bring back Oh No Bruno as a fan favorite, and it deserved to be brought back. It's the #1 Ramones Hanson ass-kicking fury of fun with a delivery that makes your eyeballs fall out of your asshole. But my personal favorite, Tired of Waiting, just saying the song name gets me jacked. In my opinion, the talent and delivery on this is unreal. And John, the ending where Andy is listening to the shit he's tired of, and John, on one line, he switches the accent from the first beat. He does it for like 2 or 3 times, and then out of nowhere, he just takes that second beat, and that's where he puts the accent. It's when Andy's listening to stuff, he was like, tired of this, tired of that, tired of this, and then he doesn't hit it on the first beat. He hits the emphasis and whatever, the symbol on the second beat. That is so jazz, that is so badass to me. Take the eyeballs that fell out of your ass, and I love that song. I think it's perfect. All kidding aside, both of these songs are kind of similar in their delivery. I think they're fast, they're fun, they're full of fury, and it makes everybody go bananas. The subject matter is different, obviously, but the same fury is there. I'm a bit worried here. Oh No Bruno is top of the list stylistically for the Ramones type onslaughts, and 110% fan favorite for a damn good reason. I think that's all I gotta say, because I'll just sit there and drip Tired of Waiting. But Tired of Waiting is. I heard Andy told me he wrote that. He told me he wrote that in like 15 minutes. He just like came up with the idea. Went upstairs. They had a house.
Yeah.
And he was waiting for those two to get done with their rehearsal.
He was tired of waiting.
And he went up. Yeah. Well, he was waiting for them to get done when it was time to go upstairs, and he came up and he had that idea. And I just think that it's so aggressive. It's cool. It's jazz. It does things to me when I hear it. It does things to me.
I just noticed something reading the lyrics to Tired of Waiting that I never really connected before. I mean, this could be a total long shot, but there's the line in there, Tired of Waiting for the paint to dry. I believe that Andy worked at a paint store.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
That seems pretty self-referential there. I got to give that to you. Yeah. So my first comment about Ono Bruno is, why the fuck has this not been behind a Letterkenny fight scene? Get on it. What the fuck? This song absolutely needs to be in Letterkenny as one of their.
You guys have Letterkenny down there?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, give me a fucking break. Like, they've done so many songs. This is the song. There's no other song. It could just be this song every time. But it's like the letter writing campaign, please. What the fuck?
Letterkenny letter writing. I've tried to slip this in the back route because I
sort it out.
My friend recorded. One of the guys who does a lot of he's a friend of Jared Kiso.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna start trying to pluck that string some more.
Go over to the thing.
Pluck the string some more, man. This song is like,
Jeez.
I'm telling you, it's made for it. I was watching Letterkenny the other day, and Sorry, couldn't help it. And a fight scene came on, and it really just hit me that it's absolutely fucking perfect. The length of it, anyway. So someone's got to do it.
Just to interrupt you, I'm sorry. I know this is a No Means No podcast, but I only I shouldn't say I discovered it, because I've known about Letterkenny for years. I've got lots of friends that love it. Never gave it a chance, and I started binging it maybe like 4 months ago. Oh shit! And it's like one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my life.
It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good.
It's like poetry.
It is. No, poetry. It really is.
The writing is just mind blowing. Have you guys seen Shoresy yet?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
The spin-off? Oh, anyway.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Anyway, carry on.
No, it's brilliant. It's fine. If anybody out there has not seen it and you like a Canadian band, I don't know why the fuck.
Something happened.
No, you can't.
Some more.
You can't. You really have to push through for a little bit. But anyway, this is not a Letterkenny podcast.
You got to get through the first season, I find, and then it really gets going.
It's like Adventure Time, same thing. So, Oh No Bruno. I know I'm kind of like maybe I don't know. I know myself for maybe shitting on the song a little more than, not a lot more than it deserves, because this song is fucking awesome. It really is.
It's a banger.
It might be simple in a sense compared to their other songs, but it's so tight and precise and exactly what it needs to be, and everything about it is perfect for what they're trying to do. This is not a simple song because someone can only play 3 chords. It's like, no, this is exactly the music that should be behind this kind of song for what they're saying. And I also think that it is perfectly placed on the album. Like, you needed this song where it is in sequence on the album. Even if you're taking the shorter vinyl version where it ends with All Lies, you still need that palate cleanser before going into All Lies, or All Lies then to me would lose some of its power. I need a release before going into All Lies. So I do think it's a fucking amazing song. Great to hear the backstory of it, right? Like, you just see listening to it the first time, there's a story behind it. It's such great storytelling.
Yes.
And so affectionate about this character. Like, I do sense the affection behind it. They're not talking about some fuck up they're making fun of. There's affection behind the kind of catastrophe that was this person's
there
life.
It goes again.
And yeah, exactly. And that's what I really like about it. It's this like, fuck Bruno. Like, the cops are knocking. Like, don't let him in, man.
Oh no.
So I just really love that about it. And again, like the Hanson Brothers stuff, it's just so goddamn well composed and so tight that it's better than any other pop punk that you're ever going to find, because it's played by fucking virtuosos, right? So this song is, I am also glad this song came back in, and I think A Little Too High gets no love from anybody that I know of, and so I'm glad that we voted that one in and that we get to talk about it again at some point. But I am glad that Ono Bruno came back in, because it's a fucking great song.
Yep.
I also agree it's a very methy song. If we're comparing it to drugs, that was fucking very, very apt. And yeah, I also love the way that this is one of my favorite openings. What? I mean, it's so fucking great. And then the way it ends with just the crashing. It's like a comic book, someone crashing down the stairs with their fist coming at your face, and it just stops right before it punches you out.
Jesus
It's fucking
Christ.
glorious. It's a glorious, and this is one of the songs that, whether you knew it or not, you were waiting for it live, whether you're on the sidelines or in the pit, because it's where people are just going to go fucking nuts. And some shows, I really love that. The older I got, the more I was like, it's Ono Bruno. I'm heading to the back.
Yep, I'm
getting
getting out of here.
I'm going to let those young kids beat the shit out of each other, because I don't want any part of it. But at least you knew it was coming, because you could hear the first strains.
Meth was not the drug that was involved.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure. Yeah. I think it's more the tone, underlying tone. But I would bet it's not meth. So, Tired of Waiting is the song that for me first cemented their genius when I heard them, because I really loved the first few tracks on Wrong, which I've talked about before, was the album I was in the dark by myself at my friend Russell's college dorm room. He's like, you got to fucking listen to this. I'm going to go scrape the bongs on the floor to try to get us some weed. I'll come back with a giant resin ball in like half an hour. You sit here and listen to this while I'm scraping out people's bowls. And so I'm listening to that, and I fucking, it's catching up. Oh, fuck, what a banger. Oh, The Tower. Oh, fuck, what a banger. Oh, shit. Then we've got not talk figure. God damn it.
I Need Lunch.
What the fuck is
Brainless
Wonder?
Wonder.
Holy shit.
Brainless
And those
Wonder.
are all like beautifully intricate punk songs. But then Tired of Waiting? What the fuck is this? Jazzcore. It showed me that they were in a totally different realm. This was not just good punk or good hardcore. This was a band that had a underpinning of something truly remarkable. The jazz solos, Rob's bass walking, John's just insanely fucking,
John,
and like you talked about that, Strangey, the way he plays with the offbeats and shit. That made me realize, this is something completely different. This is absolutely something different.
It's fucking perfect.
And that is not the case for me with Ono Bruno. As much as I love it, that is a song that belongs in the Venn diagram. Oh, there's Grayson.
Grayson.
He said, "Oh no."
Oh no, he did.
Yeah.
Ono Bruno in the Venn diagram of other musicians. Ono Bruno, I could slot it into a bunch of people. Kind of. I could say, well, these guys could play it, or these guys could play it. Not as well, but Tired of Waiting. There's nobody else who'd fucking play that song. It's totally unique to them. So that's why it's always stood out to me more. It's not that Ono Bruno is not a fucking great song, but it's not unique. It's unique in how they execute it. I don't know, but I still love it. I think Tired of Waiting is really fucking good. And as other people have talked about, the descent from the pettiness of the things that we're waiting for down to tired of waiting for the bomb to drop, tired of waiting for the end.
For the one in the wall.
And then
the one in the wall.
Yeah. And then just again, Andy's fucking delivery.
Oh my
one
God.
of the
Get
all-time
out.
greatest
Go
punk
away.
vocalists.
Get out of town.
It's from everything from that snarl you talked about, Matthew. It's just so great. Down to like, tired of waiting for the end. Well, I got tired of waiting because it's just fucking the way he cuts from one to the other, and he'd do that live. It's so fucking good. I mean, that song just absolutely
Oh,
rules.
God.
And in each of these songs, everything about the songs fit perfectly together. So this is definitely two examples of where lyrics, music, and vocal delivery performance perfectly match. The way Ono Bruno is sung and played, and the way the lyrics match, everything is perfect. Tired of Waiting, same thing. They may be two totally different ways of approaching this.
Exactly.
But this band can do that. They can have two completely different styles, or vastly different, maybe not completely different, and yet each of them is perfectly matched. All of the elements work perfectly together.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy to me. I don't know many other bands that can pull that off, but they fucking did it. So there you go. That's round one.
I'm highly intimidated by you guys in the way that you really break it all down, because
please
I just
don't.
go like, oh yeah, it's a good song. I like
No,
that.
please don't.
Well, no.
Dude, Lemon, can I tell you something? Everybody probably got way more out of what you fucking said because they're like, holy shit, the Bruno's. So don't even sell yourself short, brother.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah. They're like, I've heard these assholes spout about this shit before. So we're gonna start.
Jason, these guys like go off on the this and that and that.
It's the drugs.
It's
So-
don't worry about it.
It's
we
the
both
meth.
become extremely intellectually lazy in our old age, so now we just wank over things that we love.
That's right. Exactly. I don't create. I just comment on others' creation.
Exactly.
That's my thing. So, all right. So let's talk about round two, and just not round two, but the second kind of topic round to remind everyone what this is. It's a little bit more focused. This is kind of whether or not each of the songs is representative of No Means No as a whole, what kind of place it occupies in the oeuvre of No Means No, and whether we would introduce either or both of these songs to a No Means No newbie. We've kind of touched on some of that, each of us, but we'll focus in a little bit more. Matthew, why don't you kick us off here?
You know that word oeuvre? It's the same as in hors d'oeuvre.
Oh, there's no hors d'oeuvres here, though, man.
No, that's true.
This is full on
These are
fucking
main
pizza
courses.
here, right here. Pizza.
So, yeah.
Sit down and have a slice.
Whether the song
Motherfucker.
is representative of No Means No as a whole. Oh, no, Bruno. Yes, I mean, in a way, in terms of the tightness of the playing and just the humor in it as well, definitely representative of No Means No. And it is a very well-known No Means No song. It's one of the ones that somebody who isn't all that familiar with them probably remembers, maybe because it's a little more accessible. And for that reason, just like you were saying, Jordan, I think it's one of not very many No Means No songs that are a little more coverable. I think you can imagine somebody else playing it and playing it pretty well, or you could even imagine that another band might have been able to play a song this well. Whereas, Tired of Waiting is extremely No Means No.
Don't even.
It's extremely, extremely No Means No. Another band could not do that. I don't.
That's
think.
right.
Could not, would not. And
not.
wouldn't sort of pull it out. Where they're placed on the album, I think both are really, really excellent. You said palate cleanser, Jordan. I sort of had written down, it's the Oh No Bruno is like the pickled ginger between pieces of sashimi.
Exactly.
Nice.
So little fresh taste between the meatier things on either side.
Michelle thinks it's pizza.
That's right. Who doesn't like pizza?
I kind of like what you said, Jordan, about how you sort of going through and these songs are awesome, and then like, what the fuck is this? This is weird. Oh wow, I really like this, and now this is really essential. It's sort of like putting peanut butter on your burger. It's like you're not going to expect it, but oh damn, that's good, and I wasn't expecting it to be good, and now I'm going to put it on all the time. Let's see. Would I introduce a newbie to them? I think Oh No Bruno, only as contrast. I might play something more complex and say, well, they also do this. It probably wouldn't have been the first or even in the top 5 first songs that I would play. Unless it was somebody who I wasn't trying to convince or I didn't think would really get into No Means No, something that they might like because it is
yeah.
more accessible. Tired of Waiting, maybe not, because it is just so weird. And again, like if I thought the person might really get into No Means No, because not everybody will, then maybe. But if it was somebody I didn't know very well, or somebody who was just at work, driving the forklift over there or whatever, like maybe not so much. So yeah. Anyway, somebody I cared about convincing, maybe. Somebody maybe not so much.
Yeah, interesting. All right, Jason, what do you think?
Well, this is tough. I actually really agree with most of what Matthew said, and that was sort of my take on it as well. I think Oh No Bruno is representative of No Means No in a big way, in the sense that even though it was written as a Hanson Brothers song, in order to be a No Means No fan or to get to know them as a band, you need to know that that's a very important side of them. And I think that they kind of I'm not sure if every album has an example of this, but I think that they were, whether they were conscious of it or not, I think every once in a while they would sprinkle a song like that in to remind everybody they knew how to rock out like a punk band.
Right.
As opposed to be complex and jazzy and weird and super musicians and all that stuff. I think they like to remind people here and there that, hey, yeah, we can just play a fast, cool punk song and have a bit pulsating and people stage diving. And yeah, that's why we belong in this world, right?
Which is it on Small Parts?
What's that?
Which one is it on Small Parts?
Well, Small Parts, exactly. I'm sure
Dead Souls. Dead Souls. I'm telling you,
okay.
Dead Souls.
Dead Souls, maybe.
So.
Yeah.
Teresa.
But Sex Mad on Sex Mad would be the example on that album. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to think of others, but I'm not saying every record they would do that necessarily. But I just think that.
The years.
Fair enough. The most important thing about No Means No is how different they are than other punk bands. But I think it's important to remember that they had the ability and the love of punk rock as a more simplified musical form, that they could show their chops that way too and go, hey, yeah, and actually also on Wrong is Two Lips, Two Lungs, and One Tongue, which is about as hardcore, fast punk rock as you can get, just a straight ahead banger. But and then there's Tired of Waiting. You're right, Matthew. It is a very No Means No song. It's a very Andy Kerr song. I don't know if you would get a song like that after he left and it was Tom. I think it would. It really belongs in that time frame when he was in the band and contributing finally by then. I would definitely introduce people with Oh No Bruno, but as again, I agree with Matthew. I think it needs to be paired with something else. So you would say, well, this is what they can do, but this is actually what they really are good at, and check this out. And I also agree with Matthew. I don't think Tired of Waiting would be the one I would go with, because it is a pretty weird song and a pretty inaccessible song to somebody who may be discovering this band for the first time. But once you know them, and maybe the thing to do is just introduce somebody wrong and just play from side one, song one, and just go through it, because it does.
That was me.
That
was fucking me.
Yeah, well, the journey. Yeah, exactly, like you said, Jordan. Like the journey of that album gets you to that, and by then you're ready for it, kind of.
Yeah.
But as far as just like sitting someone down and playing one song for them, this is the first song for you. No, I don't think Tired of Waiting would be the one. Right? Is that fair?
That's fair. That's your opinion. Okay. All opinions are fair.
Yeah.
Michelle.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to jump ahead to the second part of the thing.
Sure.
I'd play like both of these songs for people. Second, I'd play Tired of Waiting. Hey, this is my favorite song.
Right.
Taking like their feelings out of it. Being an asshole. I like this one. But I would definitely play Oh No Bruno. In fact, there's one song that I always play for people first, and it's The Day Everything Became Nothing. That's the song that I play for people first in the chances that I have. Like I said in my notes, I do think these are two separate avenues of the band, and I think these songs are at the top, at the end of that dead-end street of those avenues where, like, this is it. You want to get like cool and funky and jazz and badass and in your face? Tired of Waiting. Oh No Bruno, let's have some fun. Let's go mosh in the pit. This is it. I'm really sad that these two are up against each other. Like, this really, really bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, physically.
Yeah.
I'm serious, because like I don't know where Do we really have to? I don't know.
gotta do it. That's the
Can I
conceit.
stop now? I didn't do too well.
No, you did great. You said
stop.
these are the dead ends at the end of both of those avenues, and that fucking is the most succinct way of putting it. That was
Well,
that
I don't
was
know. Maybe
brilliant.
not the dead end. Maybe the
No, I meant in the good way, right?
alive
Like
end.
they're the
Eat
brilliant
the top of the food chain.
the brilliant secret clubs at the end
Yeah,
of both of those
yep.
different avenues,
No,
right?
that's
Like
these are the tops of those avenues that they drive on. with
Yeah,
their
it's I agree,
snowplows.
and I think it's interesting this idea that are these songs representative of No Means No as a whole? Yeah, of two different tendrils of this fucking
Yep.
octopus, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
Mm-hmm.
Tired of Waiting really is that there's always the joke about this themselves. You can't genreize these guys. You can't tell anyone. They're like, what kind of music is it? Well, like fucking I don't know, like hardcore, jazzcore, punk. The only things I wouldn't say are metal. Like you could throw anything out and they kind of fit. But this is the most like kind of jazzcore-y song that they've got in a way. And then Oh No Bruno's kind of good straight ahead punk. Like, and they do that in all sorts of areas.
Mm-hmm.
But this is their most, I mean, I think it is their most straight up Hanson Brothers-y song. So
Yep.
in that song, in that sense to me, and I think that's maybe where, not my complaint, but my sort of like the reason I don't get into it as much, maybe that's not the side of the band that's spoken to me as much personally. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. Doesn't mean I don't think it's fucking executed perfectly. Doesn't mean I don't think it's perfectly placed on the album, but it's not what drew me in to them as a band that went like, oh shit, this band is something else. But it's necessary. It's needed.
Right.
And I think that's a
Necessary. I
really
like that.
good point, Jason, that you brought up this thing that, yeah, it is actually important, not just for other people, but for us to be reminded, hey, these guys can just fucking rock. They can just put up some shit that's going to blow your socks off as a punk masterpiece, better than anybody else who was trying to do that as their like entire deal. Right.
Those are some of the hardest songs to write too.
Yeah, exactly.
The simple, straightforward ones
Exactly.
without sounding like something else.
So I do think it's indicative of No Means No as a whole, but of a different branch. That's not the part that I gravitate to the most, but it's absolutely essential. And Tired of Waiting really is that. And I think, yeah, Jason, you also said it. It's very Andy, right? Which is beautiful in that sense. Like this is a really good example of what, there are people who have a BA, AA kind of time scale before Andy, after Andy of the band in terms of like what they like. And while I don't hold to that, because I love their entire catalog as a spectrum, I understand it because the band was different when it had him as an influence, an actual songwriting influence. Once that was gone, it was Rob and John, which I fucking love. And I know Tom added some, but it's become clear from hearing from you and, others. He wasn't songwriting as much. Andy was really songwriting, and you hear it here. And I love Andy's songwriting, and his songwriting mixed with No Means No, with Rob and John, is a sort of secret sauce that's just fucking magic. And this song is a beautiful example of that. I think we get a lot of it on 0+2. So I'm really glad we have this as a testament, and that is something that's essential about No Means No, that what Andy brings, and this is a really, really, really good example. And something I didn't mention in the first round. Oh man, Gregson agrees with me. He keeps agreeing with me.
Sorry.
I'm clearly right.
Do you want me to
I'm
get
clearly
him on?
right. I
No,
don't.
no.
We love Gregson. He's a fan favorite. So.
He's coming
It is
towards
the one
me.
thing about Tired of Waiting. To me, this doesn't negate anything about it, but it is one of those songs. There are others. There's 0+2=1 has a couple of these that are their pairings. It's hard. They're better together. This with Stock Taking, Tired of Waiting with Stock Taking is better than either of them alone. But I do think Tired of Waiting stands high on its own, even without the two of them. Oh, Gregson, we're seeing a black kitty on the screen who you've all heard, and he's beautiful, and he agrees with me. I can tell. Yeah. So yes, they're both endemic. God, I keep saying that word. Indicative. The juice is already kicking in, folks. This Armagnac's good shit. Now, in terms of introducing newbies to it, so I mean, in a way, this question's just fucking impossible because I have so many scenarios. It's like, well, who are they? Right? Like, what kind of music do they like? Are they someone who, if I knew someone who really just liked fucking punk rock, then I would probably start them with Oh No Bruno as a gateway drug and go, but now look what else they can do, right? But at least give them something that was like, here's the lozenge now look, let me give you this elderberry flavored one. I swear to God, it's going to be good. You like that other one, right? This one's going to be really fucking good. Now, with Tired of Waiting, it would be the reverse. I had a friend who was really into jazz and John Zorn and shit like that. And I was like, what can I introduce him to? Oh, I know. Let's play him the weird jazzy shit. That's what's going to get him in. And then he could grow to appreciate the Ono Brunos, right? So I think both of these songs do have a place as a newbie introduction. But to me, they're actually more aperitifs. These are songs that both of them that I would play as a second or third sort of, hey, I want you to hear what they're capable of. Not necessarily the first note, but let me show you the variety of what they can play, because they really do demonstrate the scale of where this band can go in two wildly different directions. In that sense, they're perfectly paired for that reason. They're great examples of two forks, or the two alleys that you spoke
Especially
about.
if you went, these are on the same fucking album.
Exactly. And so they would be kind of second or third songs I would show somebody to say, hey, these are, it also does this. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would take either of these songs as my first foray into the band. But they would be, close as really good examples of what this band can fucking do. It really just depends on the person. That's that. All right, well, this is going to be interesting. I really have no fucking idea where this is going to go.
Wait,
so
are we going to vote now? Is this,
we're going to vote. We're going to vote. And first up is Maddie U. So, Maddie U, where are you taking us?
Despite missing its precious partner, I think Tired of Waiting has got to take it for me.
Oh God,
Michelle has breathed a sigh of
Bruno
joy.
is just a bit more, less purely no means no. Maybe a little less, complex, thinking wise, and yeah, just a little more basic. So yeah, for sure, Tired of Waiting for quite easily for me.
All right, Jason, how about you?
Okay.
You're on the record now, buddy. You're fucked. Look out.
I'm gonna basically say the entire opposite of what Matthew just said. I think that Tired of Waiting on its own, without stock taking, without its place on that album, is a great song. But I think Bruno takes it for me because it is probably my favorite straight ahead punk rock song that No Means No ever did. And I love listening to it every time I hear it. Tired of Waiting is not, I don't ever skip No Means No songs, but well, maybe one or two, but Tired of Waiting is just got that little bit of inaccessibility, not to me because I'm a fan, but that little bit of, I don't know. Ono Bruno is a perfect punk rock song. I also love that it's based on a real person from Victoria, BC, where they came from, and was a friend of theirs. I love that. And I love the what at the beginning. I love the such a big guy. So I'm going with Ono Bruno.
All right.
And it's got
very
two
good.
exclamation points in the song title.
Excellent.
Whoa, it does.
We are tied now. So, Stranger, you're not quite the tiebreaker.
No.
We know
Which
where
way are you
Strangey's
tipping the
going.
scale?
No, you all know where I'm going. I'm going to vote for my favorite one. Hell yes, I am. But I'm telling you, this hurts. Because I voted for Ono Bruno the last round, and I was mortified that it didn't make the cut the first time. And I think everybody on the Facebook page was like, what the fuck, you guys?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty
it
much.
was, there was some head scratching there.
So.
But I love Ono Bruno. I always have. I thought it was kick-ass. It was just amazing. I don't care who votes for what, but I'm voting for Tired of Waiting. Oh my God, it's my favorite No Means No song.
All right.
And I hate that I'm not voting for Ono Bruno. Can I give half a vote to that?
You cannot. It's not in the rules. Those are the
God.
rules. I don't make the rules.
All
I just
right.
made the rules.
I don't like what's going to happen here.
So
I really don't.
it's weird to
don't
be
like
the
it.
fourth vote here. So I could either force a tie and have to roll our stupid little dice to decide, or I'm going to tip this over the edge. The more I've listened to Ono Bruno for this podcast, the more I've grown to love it. I didn't write it off, but I would skip it sometimes before because it just wasn't what I was looking for in No Means No. I would never do that now. I really appreciate this song. I really appreciate the musicianship. I really appreciate its energy. I really appreciate way more where it is on the album and how it crafts the whole experience of the album. I love the fact that it feels so personal and so sort of affectionate to the subject. So I think it's probably one of the best pop punk songs of all time. And it's not Tired of Waiting, which is a better song. So I think Tired of Waiting to me is just, it's just interesting. It's different. It's something I'd never heard before. When I listened to this whole album, Tired of Waiting stuck with me, changed my relationship to punk music. Oh No Bruno was like, oh yeah, that's great punk. Tired of Waiting made me go, what the fuck? And made everything recontextualized when I first heard it in a way that I was listening to fucking Jethro Tull right before that. Like, what the fuck? Suddenly I was like, no, listen to good music. Oh, got it. I got it. And Oh No Bruno, perfect on the album, perfect song. Tired of Waiting was a bit more of a revelation to me, so I'm giving it to Tired of Waiting. And Tired of Waiting goes through.
Oh my God.
And Oh No Bruno, unfortunately, has been cut loose twice, and I am not looking forward to the Facebook comments.
Again.
But Jason, good news, you're probably on the right side of the fan base, so no problems for book sales.
Fuck you guys. That's all I have to say.
Exactly. Exactly. He's done. He just took off his headphones. He's walking away, everybody.
Fuck this shit.
He's done with this podcast.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I totally understand that. Yeah.
It's all subjective. Art is subjective. But that's a hard one, man. This was harder for me than it would have been at the beginning of the podcast, for fuck's sake.
Oh, God. It's such a good song.
It's a really good song.
I'm a fan of it. Big time.
All right, so we're gonna go into our intermission here, where we this time I do, first of all, let's say what we'd like to get from people. We haven't gotten shit from anybody, so let's remind you what we're looking for here. Maybe this is going to be a dead end and no one's going to want to do it. You can still send us your Matthew, let you tell people what they can still send us, and then if you remember well enough what we'd like them to send us. There we go. It was late, but
you're going to be hearing plenty of that.
Okay, so first off, you can send your submissions, please, to nomeansnothingpodcast@gmail.com. We have, I think, retired the phone number because that did not work, and mostly we were
so
hearing
much spam
about so very much spam, so very much spam, and it would sort of just be telling us about insurance quotes for some guy named James. I hope that James found a very excellent rate.
Fuck you, James.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can send in we like to just start off with 3 questions, or just give us whatever you feel like saying, but sort of the icebreaker, or just sort of format that we start you off with is tell us your No Means No origin story, how they discovered you or you discovered them, what they mean to you. And then if you have, it could be related to either of the other two, but if you have a sort of No Means No related story, could be personal, could be anything you want, going to a show or wishing you had gone to a show, whatever you want to tell us. And the other sort of new things which we would like you to send in is if you are a listener, you sort of have to be one. Make a case for one of the songs that we kicked off. I think that was one of the things we were asking for. Jordan, do you remember?
It was, yep.
Yeah. What was another?
No, I think that was about it. The other one we talked about, we're going to keep in our back pocket for round 3, I think. So I think what we'd really like to hear is what song got kicked off that you're pissed about, and that why we're wrong, right? And probably right now we just did one of them. So you probably now are grabbing your pen and paper and like, you fucking assholes, and are writing a screed. So write that screed. I want to hear that screed. I want to read your screed on the air.
Read that screed.
The first one we're going to get is by, my name is Jackson Sheep, right? Like it's Jason with a nom de plume. She's going to write in a letter, faking it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so exactly. Well told, Matthew. But we'd like submissions, man. We really, I mean, I think we're keeping the doors open for the origin stories and stories about the band and what they mean to you, because I was consistently just fucking touched by what you guys were saying. And this podcast really, I think one of the best things for me about it is getting a peek into the community and how amazing it is, and what an amazing collection of people love this band. And I believe others like to hear these as well. That's the feedback we've gotten. So whether you want to yell at us about it, something we've kicked to the curb unceremoniously, or you want to write us one of those other things, please do. We need submissions.
And you know what? The last time that we were asking for this stuff, we had not, and interviewed Rob Wright and put it on the internet, and we have a whole giant splooge load of new, at least members to the Facebook group, which so we have a whole bunch more people probably listening, and this is probably one of the first ones that they will hear after Rob, because people don't tend to listen back through podcasts unless they're impressed by something else about it. So I hope that the Rob interview, you're very, very happy to do that. And thank you to Rob, and thank you for Jason for putting the tendrils forth to make that happen.
Hey. Yeah.
But hopefully we're not just a one-trick pony, and that you will give you something else interesting to listen to. So thank you for tuning in and welcome to new listeners.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to read one of those origin stories right now. A gentleman.
No means nothing podcast at gmail.com. Please send in your submissions to that email.
No means nothing at no means nothing podcast gmail.com. Our friend of the podcast listener, Hank Call, wrote this in to us. So I'm going to read this out. I got to see Andy Aaron No Means No in 1990 in Bozeman, Montana. I was vaguely aware of them, but had never heard their stuff before, and went to the show solely because they were on Alternative Tentacles with my favorite band, Dead Kennedys. What I remember most vividly was that I was confused that Rob had gray hair. I couldn't figure out if he dyed it that way, if it was the lighting or what, because he didn't really look that old otherwise. It was very perplexing to 19-year-old me. The fact that the drums were at the front of the stage also really tripped me out. And I'll be honest, that night I was far more preoccupied with trying to find alcohol than on watching No Means No. I was pretty clueless at that age, and any band that didn't sound like The Exploited or Dead Kennedys was pretty uninteresting to me. So while I count myself lucky that I got to see them back then, I have to admit that it was pretty much lost on me. We did go to a house party after the show, and I stood in a room watching Rob and John smoking cigarettes and talking with locals about various sci-fi movies, but I didn't talk with them myself. Cut to a few months later, and my friend Jake got Wrong on vinyl, and we listened to it at high volume. Needless to say, I was completely fucking pulverized from beginning to end. Yeah. I had never heard anything so sharp and aggressive, so powerful, so smart, so fucking precise. Mm-hmm. I made him play Brainless Wonder about 37 times in a row because I was so stupefied by it. And the interplay between the vocals on some of these songs really blew me away. It was so weird, yet so intoxicating and commanding. That record just demands your attention, and I instantly became a lifelong fan. Mm-hmm. I ended up getting Sex Mad You Kill Me on cassette shortly after that, and I remember taking a 3-day Greyhound trip to Santa Cruz and listening to that tape incessantly on my Walkman. I, of course, loved the punk rock stuff, but found myself really tripping out on some of the longer, more ponderous, in a good way, songs like Self-Pity, Hunt the Sheebies, Body Bag. Totally changed my musical palette forever. I became so much more of a discerning music listener just from that album. Well, that and Double Nickels on the Dime.
Oh, nice.
Next, I got Live and Cuddly. And similar to when I first heard Wrong, I was gobsmacked by the power of that band. The version of Metronome on that album, as you all know, completely fucking mind-blowing.
Yep.
The way they manipulate the tension of that song amazes me every single time I hear it, even 30 plus years later. Best live album ever made, hands down. Later that same year, 0 + 2 = 1 came out and quickly became my obsession. I started playing drums around this time and worshipped at the altar of John Wright, and still do. I love everything about John's drumming. His beat-up old drum kit, that dinky little 8-inch rack tom that he appears to have had since the 70s, his dorky Bermuda shorts and Teva sandals, his funny drumming faces. I've tried so hard to switch to traditional grip just so I can look as cool as John Wright, but I just can't get it down. But still to this day, I spend hours playing drums along to No Means No, sort of like an 8-year-old boy pretending to be Batman. By the way, one thing I don't hear mentioned about John Wright is how goddamn fast his right hand is, especially on songs like Sex Mad and Oh No Bruno. He's doing eighth notes on the hi-hat at an incredibly high speed with amazing accuracy, all while singing.
Yeah.
The guy was clearly born with about 6 people's worth of talent. When I was a college student in the mid-90s, I had a job washing dishes at the Student Union building, which required me to show up at 7 a.m. One of my fondest memories is walking to work in the middle of winter at 6:30 a.m. in complete darkness, listening to The Worldhood of the World on my Walkman. I would fixate on Humans in particular, rewinding and replaying it over and over, even walking a few blocks out of my way so I could hear it a couple more times.
Oh, wow.
I saw No Means No twice more in Denver in the Tom era and the Hanson Brothers once. And unlike when I was 19, I was far more mentally equipped to appreciate them in live setting. I really like their latter-day output, especially One. That album is so moody, so good at evoking certain states of mind. Seeing them do Under the Sea live was pretty jaw-dropping. Ausfart took me several listens to wrap my head around, but it's a classic for sure. To be honest, I consider Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie to be kind of a career low point, but you guys have inspired me to re-listen to it with a more discerning ear. Anyway, let me say again that I really appreciate your podcast. So awesome to listen to the people geek out about something that I love so much and to do it with such enthusiasm and aplomb. It has inspired me to re-listen to all the No Means No with an entirely new ear, appreciating the lyrics much more. It also makes me want to do a similar podcast for my other great love, the Minutemen.
Oh my God, I would love
There's
that.
that podcast, right? This is a little aside. What's it? God damn it! Why can't I remember what it's called?
No, it's not about
Oh no,
the
that's
Minutemen,
right.
but
It's not the
the
Minutemen. That's right.
who's
My
that?
bad.
Those two dudes from Canada, Matthew.
Anyway, you're right about there being a sort of No Means No renaissance afoot. When they broke up, it seemed like they were kind of going to be lost to the sands of time. So it's really great that you started this podcast, and the Jason Lamb book is coming out, and so many more people are talking about them. And since I listened to the episode with I Think You Know, I too have always considered I Think You Know and The Night That Nothing Became Everything as a singular piece. And like you, he's talking about me. I can't remember who said it. It was me. But one of you, it was me. I thought they were in versions of the same central riff. Anyway, I have to agree that I Think You Know is one of the most stabby and inventive pieces of No Means No business that ever existed. Well, goddamn, Hank, that was fantastic. Thank you, sir. That's what we're looking for, folks.
Business.
It doesn't have to be that. And as a gentle reminder to folks, we're always happy to read them out for you, but people hear our voice way too much. If you are up for it, make a voice memo in fucking, on your iPhone. Do whatever you got to do. Record that voice. We like to hear your voice. Doesn't have to be perfect quality. You can email it to us. If you have a hard time figuring out how to do this, send us an email saying, how the fuck do I get this shit to you? And we'll help you out. Don't ask Michelle. She doesn't know shit.
No, don't.
But we'll help you out.
There's a great voice recorder app on Android. It's called Voice Recorder.
Yeah, and iPhone's got no end of them. So whatever you're on, or maybe you're a Luddite and you want to just email it to us or carrier pigeon it to us or tin can and strings. I don't know. Get it in. We want to hear it. Now, all four of us are fucking idiots. And before we go into round two, I cannot believe we have not talked about this. And I got to interrupt the podcast to talk about this shit.
What is going on?
Jesus Christ. Dead Bob is out as an album. John Wright has a new album. Are you fucking kidding me? God damn, son of a bitch, I'm an asshole. And if John, for some reason you're listening to this, please accept my sincere apologies. I had it right at the top of my mind. Most of you have already heard it. He's got way more likes and follows than we fucking have. So we're not saying anything new to any of you who are listening to this. If you're listening to this podcast, you've already listened to this song, this album on repeat 100 times. But holy shit, it rocks. And listen,
But if you haven't, John Wright put out a solo album.
Yeah. John Wright put out a solo album. I want to go on record here. There's a lot of controversy about this. Rob did help write some of the songs. He did not sing or play on anything. So just let's be clear. But a couple of songs he does have writing credits. So in any event, I don't know how it's going to work out, what we're going to do, but we as a trio or whatever, we'll be talking about this album at some point. I hope so. There's no way we won't. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but we'll fucking deep dive into this shit once we've had more chance to digest it. But I would like to ask all of you, it's on Spotify, but if you can, go fucking buy it, right? Even if you're going to stream it later on Spotify because you can't get it into iTunes or whatever bullshit, whatever. Like, let's show John how much we appreciate this. It's Bandcamp, so you can kind of pay what you want. If you could pay more than 12, pay more than 12. Show John the fucking love, man. He deserves it. I want more music from this son of a bitch, and he has threatened that there's a lot more in the archives. Let's motivate him to go out and make more fucking albums.
Yeah.
Give this guy some scratch. He's earned it, okay?
He just sent an email that I read before I came on here about how he's... Did you see it? He's pressing out some shit and where to get some swag.
Yep. So there's more to come if we're all lucky. So let's show John why he should bother doing that, which is because we're all fucking thirsty as shit for this kind of music. All right, there's that. So let's head into round two.
Guy.
He's one of the best in the world. And as this guy said as our buddy Hank said, he has the talent of at least 6 men. Hank, I would take issue with that. I think add a couple zeros onto the end of that, and then we'll be a little accurate. So let's not waste any more of your time. Let's not waste my time. I mean, what the fuck, to quote a little Live and Cuddly. Let's dive into round 2, where we've got 2 other towering songs from different albums this time. So round 2, we are going to be pitting Brother Rat, What Slayde Says, off of The Day Everything Became Isolated and Destroyed, 1998, and also, of course, off of Live and Cuddly, 1991, which won against Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie in episode 10, versus Dead Bob off of Sex Mad, 1986. And this won out in episode 22 over Our Town. So we're going to sit back and listen to a little bit of what Slayde is whispering to Dead Bob in a back-to-back pairing.
Slayde.
And we'll be right back to opine about these masterpieces.
He is secretive, ruthless, and cold. He mentions just enough and leaves the rest untold. He said, don't ever risk an open attack. Just smile into their faces and then stab them in the back. But Slayde, I said, what about the weak, the helpless, and the small? He just sneered and said, fuck 'em all. Fuck 'em all.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I hung myself, so fuck you. Button up your overcoat. Well, the sky's gray. Put a rubber on your neck. Kick his chair away. My father was of the sky. My mother was of the earth. And I'm a stupid, cringing, ignorant, fucking little goof.
All right, so I go first. Start with, well, I guess I compare these songs. This is really hard for me because I think I've made it clear that Brother Rat, What Slayde Says is, I think, probably one of the best songs that's ever been made. I mean, there's a couple, there have been many years where it's at the top of my pantheon of No Means No. And really anything that's the top of pantheon of No Means No is at the top of pantheon of any band for me, period, of any artist for me, period. And this song lives up in that realm, whether right now it happens to be The River that's higher or Mary or whatever. This song never strays from top 3, top 2. I don't know. It's a masterpiece. We've learned, I think, from Andy that Brother Rat and What Slayde Says were written separately, not necessarily together. And then they found their way together, and I can never imagine them not being together now.
Right.
They are so perfectly paired together. And I just think this song is perfect. I think it's perfect. I think the kind of it's almost like a punk folk tale in the way that it that the cadence of it, the way it starts with that bass line, do 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 do, and then how that start, even the lyrics on that part are a little more conversational and draw you in and start to draw the contrast, and then the music lowers into that more just droning guitar and bass riff together. The lyrics start to get darker, it starts to get deeper into the subconscious, and then it just really fucking kicks in at the end of each of those verses and goes straight for the fucking jugular. Rob gets perhaps his most personally poetic that I've ever heard him, and just fucking rips deep into my subconscious and picks up an element of what to me it means to be a human being with a shadow self that we all have, and just lays it bare in a way that I don't think any artist has ever done for me. And it's just fucking beauty. And the way that it just reaches that fever pitch at the end of each series of verses, and then right back into the do-do-do-do-do-do. It's just
Go back in the confessional.
It's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And no other band in history could have written this song ever. I don't think there's anything about this song that I would change. And yet there are two perfect versions of it. You've got the one on the studio recording, but the Live and Cuddly version, which of all the songs that I wish I could have seen in the Andy era, because I never got to see Andy era, No Means No, this is the one. Because hearing their musical breakdown at the end is fucking glorious. It's ecstatic, the way that Andy's guitar starts freaking out and Rob is underneath it. It's that descent into the schizophrenia that they're pushed into by being between these two poles of being and Slayde. It's just amazing. And how there could be the two songs end so differently, in the two versions end so differently, and yet they both serve the song so well. That's a fucking magic trick. And that's why I'm so gloriously glad we have Live and Cuddly, and then I get to experience what Andy added on stage to these songs. And I have more to say about Brother Rat probably, but to throw in Dead Bob, because I'm not going to forget about Dead Bob. I really like Dead Bob a lot. And notice I said like. I do like it. I don't know that I love it. I think it's a great song. It's not one that's ever really, really connected with me. I think musically it's fucking great. It's a little bit too scattered for me. It's a little bit too frenetic in a way that doesn't feel grounded to something they're really trying to communicate. And that could just be me. It'd be that I'm not necessarily connecting with it. That said, as with so many other songs, this song grew on me way more diving into it, listening to it over and over and over again for that episode. And I voted for it over Our Town, right? Which I really like Our Town. It's a great fucking song, and it's got classic Andy like vocal delivery. Really, Grayson just likes my voice, I think, and he's
am
just
so sorry.
he's just agreeing with me, man. I
Come
think
here,
I feel
shush.
validated. So Dead Bob has that,
Okay.
has the I mean, this sad sack narrator, and of course Dead Bob being the most iconic image that we have of No Means No. This is tattooed on I don't know how many fucking people around the world, and this sort of casual and yet very, very like the underlying pathos of this person's escape from life, whilst kind of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry for the little mess. Please excuse my thoughtlessness." It's so fucking sad. It's so sad, and there's so much pathos in it, and so much sarcasm and bitterness all at the same time. Like, I don't know how they could straddle this weird rail that it's just insane. I don't know how you do it, but it's a fucking magic trick. And I love that it's got Beatles lyrics in it. I still think that's fucking great. What a nice little Easter egg for people listening closely to the song. I do think musically it's really fucking good. It's all over the place. It's precise when it needs to be. It's got that loose Andy Kerr guitar, really well mixed. But Brother Rat, I mean, fucking A, Brother Rat's
Oh
just
my God.
it's just from another fucking planet. It's hard. This one's hard for me because I want to say more about Dead Bob and I can't. Brother Rat is a black hole that pulls all my thoughts. As I'm talking about it, it's what I want to talk about. And it's hard for me to even think about what I want to say about Dead Bob. Because when I look in my guts about this band, everything is drawn to that song. Every part of what I love about No Means No is exemplified in that song. Everything. And Dead Bob is a fun song that I enjoy and I think is really good, but I can't opine about it. I just can't. It's not. There's nothing else about it that inspires me to dive into it. And so I'm sure others will have stuff to say, which is great. I think Dead Bob, I don't know that first half of Sex Mad, really, the sequencing strikes me as much as on other albums. It's always been something about it that maybe doesn't stand out to me as much. So I can't really speak about where it comes on the album. Maybe perfect, but it's not, I can't remark on it. Whereas I think Slayde Says and Brother Rat are perfectly placed where they come up. And as a pairing and as a single song are fucking perfect. Nothing bugs me about Slayde. I do think it's absolutely perfect. And I think it has some of the best turns of poetic phrase in music. You know, he smiled and whispered, "I murdered love." I mean, it's
God.
just, and the fact that he's saying he whispered while he's
Yeah.
screaming it is just,
Yes.
it's transcendent. It's transcendent. And it really feels like this song is coming from deep in the guts of Rob Wright's psyche and is a manifestation of something really true for him in one way or the other.
I never thought about that he whispered, and then when he says it, they're screaming. I
He's
never thought
screaming it.
about
Yeah,
that.
no, like he
Oh my
smiled and
God.
whispered, but he's just
Yeah, but then
screaming
he's
it into the
belting it out.
microphone because it's
Holy
not.
shit.
It's not. We're not hearing Slayde. We're hearing the man who's
Yeah.
affected by Slayde and
Wow.
what that does to him.
Huh.
What that does to him, and of course the image of crouched before some horrible machine, some terrible machine. I mean, it's beautiful. And I love the ending. I think the ending is this slow descent into schizophrenia and madness. The pianos, the keyboards kind of plunking off into the distance, everything kind of breaking apart, the voice just, what? Huh? And I've listened to it a million times and I'm positive that at the very end, it's Rob or John or Andy going, what? Oh, you too? As if saying, oh, you also hear Slayde? Right? Like back at the viewer as the very last, very subtle words that you get to hear as it winds down. Probably one of my favorite endings to a No Means No song. Everything about this front to back is just absolute perfection that no band in history could have done.
Right.
And Dead Bob is also really, really good, but it's just not remarkable to me in the same way as even on that album as Sex Mad. It's not one of the ones that really stands out to me, and I'm probably not doing it justice. And in this case, for me, it's just not fair. Like there's very, very few songs that are going to come up that would stand against Slayde. So I'm sorry, that's I just can't help it. So I mean, I could probably talk for a million more years, and I won't. I already said most of what I wanted to say, Brother Rat, in the first time we talked about it, which I know I talked about it for a long time. So I'll leave it there, and I'll pass it over to you, Jason, to opine about what
With
you
his
think about these two
ratfish
songs.
shirt on.
Yeah. I'm a terrible guest because I'm going to say maybe 1% of the length of what you just said.
It doesn't matter,
There's
man.
no fucking way
Yeah,
I could.
I bet I'll do half of what you
Brother
do.
Rat, what Slayde Says is also probably my top 3 favorite No Means No songs of all,
Oh,
of
how
all
about
time.
that?
I think it was the second song I ever heard of theirs, probably. I think
shit.
Dad was the first song I ever heard, and then
Oh,
Brother Rat,
fuck.
what Slayde Says would be number 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It is obvious to me that they were written at different times just because of how different they are. But I think that Brother Rat is obviously about Rob and John, and then Slayde is a alter ego of Rob's, which is like his id, right? His especially when he says, "I face the mirror," and he steps in between. He makes it pretty obvious that he's talking about himself.
Oh my God, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a perfect example of 2 very different things they can do. This melodic, I guess, harmonied back and forth. Well, it's not even harmony, but the back and forth of Brother Rat It's
chummy.
there is no other song like that. I can't think of another song that does that at all like that.
Me neither.
And then what
Nope.
Slayde Says has got that amazing kind of funky jazz riff to it, and then as Jordan so eloquently put, it just gets so extreme and then just brings right back down again to that mellow do. Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
Dead
Yeah.
Bob, not one of my favorites. I don't know.
Yeah.
Same thing. I've heard a really good live version of it that I like a lot better than the version on Sex Mad, where Andy goes a little bit more insane.
Oh, nice.
But it's important because it's Dead Bob, like Jordan said, their iconic character. I never really asked the guys about this, but I think that early on, if you go back to, especially on Sex Mad, like with stuff like No Fucking and Dead Bob, with lyrics like "Roses are red, violets are blue, I hung myself, so fuck you." Like I know they made that into a T-shirt at one point. I get the it was it said it on the back of the T-shirt. It's a very rare one, but anyway, I
I've never
think
seen
that Rob was guilty a little bit early on of trying to, and maybe even Hunt the Sheebies could be an example of this, of writing lyrics to be offensive for the sake of being offensive, or to be violent for the sake of being violent. I don't think that there's necessarily a lot of depth to Dead Bob. I think it's about a guy hanging himself and fuck you to the world, and basically that's it. It's about suicide. And so, like, I don't know. I may be wrong about that, and maybe he would correct me. I don't think there's a lot of. I don't think he's being super deep there. I know you guys like to read a lot into what he says, but I think that I think that maybe that is just simply him like being an angry punk and saying, you know what, fuck you, I hung myself.
Yeah.
But Dead Bob is certainly not in my top. Even probably my top 30 No Means No songs. But yeah, Brother Rat, what Slayde Says, incredible.
Nice.
Done.
All right, Strangey,
Out.
you're up.
All right. I don't have a lot of notes written down, so maybe I'll just talk for a little bit. I think both of these pieces of music are pieces of art. Why am I hearing myself in a...
Sorry, that was me.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Okay,
I just want to make sure the audio's good.
No, I was trying something.
No, that's all right.
He's experimenting live on the podcast, folks. God damn it.
Bring up that guitar.
Hey, all the button pushers are working night shifts.
Nice. No Means No dad jokes, the best kind.
Dad. No, I have played Brother Rat for somebody before. Not to jump ahead with the things here, but like I was like a metalhead guy, and I was like, listen to this. Just clear your mind and listen to this. This song, Brother Rat, I am so attracted to this song. A bit more than What Slayde Says, but What Slayde Says was one of the ones that I used to listen to in the park with a boyfriend I was dating at the time. The one that I went to the party with that I heard this band for the first time. And Jordan, it's funny because I remember asking, what's he saying at the end there? And he said, I murdered love. And I was just like, this fucking sentence, I murdered love. That's huge. That's a big sentence. And you can sit there and opine or whatever the word is about that for a half hour. It's so interesting and artful to me. Brother Rat, though, I think is just a stripped down, bare bones. It's like they who came up with this? Who came up with this bare bones, just a drum? It's like they dared themselves to just go down to their like skeletal selves.
Yeah.
Like this is an incredible piece of music. And it's just like a shake of the hand, a pat on a knife in the back. This song is incredible. I absolutely love the Brother Rat. I kind of like it more than What Slayde Says, but I'm telling you, when Slayde Says comes, or What Slayde Says, when it comes on, I can't like tune out. I'm like, what are they gonna say now? Like something's happening here, and it's so haunting. It's so like down the street with a dimly lit alley. You know, who is this guy? And they paint such a picture when they play about how how they want the music to come across. They're painting to me in this, and they're painting with Dead Bob. Like is like crazy and weird as it is. It's another like the music is just art to me. It's doing more than you're hearing a song or something like that. It's just incredible art. Um, and in some parts of Dead Bob, it sounds like ammunition. And it's always the bass tone in Dead Bob has always had this creepy, like kind of rainy Pacific Northwest kind of like, there's something down there behind the garbage can. I do you know what I'm saying, or am I talking out of my
No,
ass
no.
here?
Yeah, I get it.
Like it's like you feel something when you listen to each of these tunes. You feel it. And that's really, really, really good songwriting to me.
Yep.
And
Nice.
that's all I'm gonna say. I'm saying I said.
All right, Matthew, what do you got?
Oh, Matthew's hair's down. Was it down before?
No,
Matthew's in
it just
Jesus
Did you
mode.
put your?
came
Jesus,
down.
Matthew.
Came down. helps
Oh
me.
no!
This
You did that with
this is
Rob.
it's Slayde here. I named it Slayde.
Oh. Ooh.
I really like Dead Bob, and I really like Brother Rhett and Slayde. This is a tough one for me. Definitely a tough
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
How to even begin talking about these? So, Dead Bob's more stripped down, a little more, crazy. They're both dialogues in a sense, whereas one is a dialogue with oneself, one's shadow self. Or Dead Bob is kind of a dialogue with the person and everyone else, the entire world. So one is very inward looking and one is entirely outward looking. So that's an interesting little transposition. I was sort of making the theme. What drug are these songs? And it was a bit tricky. I started, and this is maybe like the way that Brother Rat and Slayde affects me. 30 plus years later, I'll still get totally lost in it. It creates this entire world around itself. So it's kind of thing. Is it an evening of drinking liquor where things just get blacker and blacker? No, not so much. To me, any psychedelic drug is what you take in with you. Like I will not do, if I'm in a bad place in life, I won't do mushrooms even because, if you're in a happy mood, mushrooms will make you hallucinate sort of happy, like primary colors and pleasing shapes. In a bad mood, it can make you like hallucinate Giger-esque metallic biomorphic worms with red eyes. And I kind of was thinking like maybe it's a bit of a bad trip on whatever it is. And then I started thinking, it's like going to a party and the first bit is very backslappy, very chummy. And, it's maybe like going to a party and you come in and take off your shoes. Everything's kind of nicely ordered because they've cleaned their apartment. And you sort of like say hi to some people and then they say, let's go down to the basement.
That's great.
And then you get down in the basement and, things are black and weird. There's people doing weird things. And then they're
spiders.
Like, let's go down to the other basement. And you go down this like stairs that turn into, an inscribed set of ancient stairs into this like series of catacombs and then into a series of natural caves with bioluminescence all around you. And
it puts the lotion in the basket.
That's where Slayde takes place for me and always has taken place for me. And I've talked before about being from Victoria. It's a pretty place, but it's also a really dark and weird place if you get to know it. It's on the edge of the world and it looks out on the Pacific and the depths and who knows what might come in from there or what has gone out to there. And I think that this is just a song that couldn't have been written anywhere else, maybe. It is a song about duality. It's a song about... so structurally, it has the quiet and loud that I love so much in No Means No. It has the goes back to the quiet, so much control. But then, when the guitar bits are so loud, and I don't know much about the technical side of things, but it sounds to me like it's turned up ever so slightly too loud sometimes.
Yeah.
In a good way. And it sounds like something's being torn open, and something maybe shouldn't be torn open. And then they just like right back to the quiet bit again.
How about that?
So yeah, lyrics, in terms of how the lyrics match the music, I'd say like A1 plus. It's couldn't be better. But yeah, like I said, I still get lost in it 30 years later. Maybe one of my favorite. I like the contrast. I like the fact that it this song gives me synesthesia. Honestly, like the sounds and smells and shapes.
You feel it. Yep. Yep.
One thing I hadn't noticed, and which maybe it's just the way that I listen to it, because I listen to these songs on a pretty decent stereo in the garage where I can kind of turn it up. And even though I'm mostly listening to shitty MP3s, probably off my phone, ultimately, I hear things that I had never heard before, even though, it's probably listening on tapes and CDs in the past. And I totally fucking love this. I think it's Andy. But if you listen really carefully, there's like somebody going, oh.
No.
In the background of big chunks of Slayde. And it is...
Oh, no, yeah, there is, for sure.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Holy shit.
Which I'd never noticed before. And it's
so fucking great.
eerie and fantastic, and it definitely sort of lends itself to that sort of hallucination that I was talking about before.
Dark monks chanting in the background.
In terms of things that bug me about it, basically nothing, except... my sort of continual complaint about everything, even though it was on The Day Everything Became Nothing. It's a little different from the mix on Small Parts, but I sometimes wish that those songs were recorded just a little better or mixed a little differently to bring out things like that. I don't know. One thing that bugs me has nothing to do with the song, but somebody mentioned, I think I was talking about how the song makes me feel and the things it makes me think about. And they mentioned fucking Gollum. And now I can't not think Gollum sometimes. And, Riddles in the Dark kind of shit. And it's like, fuck off out of my head, Gollum. I get it. It's the shadow self and all that. But, oh, damn. I don't need that in my head. And I'm sorry, I've just maybe made other people think of it too. Another thing is, I kind of wish that I'd got to know the song on the EP, on vinyl, because it was last. And... the way that they put it in on the CD, they sort of shoehorned the EP right into the beginning. And so it was it's at the end of a side, which is cool, but I kind of wish it was the last thing on the album in other ways. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Can
I didn't really
say
talk too
something
much
on
about
this? Like,
Dead Bob.
okay.
But yeah, it is more simple. I really like Dead Bob. It is definitely pointed outward, and I never really, there's suicide for reasons. There's suicide because of things, because of people, but this is like suicide at people.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It is suicide as a violent act towards others, which is...
oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's kind of... strange way of thinking about it, but a lot of violent imagery, and I doesn't surprise me that maybe there was some element of doing it on purpose just to be edgy, but at the same time there's a lot of depth to it as well. It's like again, maybe that duality a little bit, and you hear it in Andy. He's like, I'm sorry for the mess, I'm not sorry, I'm not sorry at all.
Yeah.
That's Gollum-y as well. It's maybe that shadow self as well. And another thing I had never noticed before, again, listening to it the way that I listened to it, I'd never heard at the end, they're just like saying, I think 2 or 3 times, "Are you happy now?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Which I'd never noticed before either.
Yeah.
I would love to ask about that stuff.
Yeah, totally. I haven't done this drug, but if this was a drug, I think it is the way that I have had the experience of being on ketamine described to me. It's a song full of big dark holes.
Doesn't make me want to try ketamine, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
no, maybe not.
No. So
I like the all-out bridge. I like the right at the end. Yeah, and it's all the little subtle things like right at the end.
Yeah.
Well, they're just getting pissed
they're
at the
masters at
recording engineer, probably with those things, right?
Maybe. The low lights. Maybe it's a little long, a little disjointed. And you know what? As much as there are so many classic rock references on Sex Mad and sort of little echoes here and there, and you know the Hendrix cover. I like my coffee with no cream.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
And while it's great, but it's sort of like, oh come on, and yeah, it's like, oh come on, maybe not quite necessary, and a little tacked on. Wondering which I am glad that came out of this. I was like looking up, you know, maybe previous reviews of Dead Bob, because it's interesting and people are going to come at it from different angles. I've heard some read some comparisons. I can totally see MX80 sound.
Oh, yep.
Like sort of early No Means No stuff is definitely reminds me of MX80
They were
sound.
fans. They were fans of that band.
Yeah, and then this one little reference, and I wish I could pretend that this is something I knew about, because I do like bands from Philadelphia generally. There's a band called the Stickmen from Philadelphia, and they released just a couple albums in like the early 80s, and somebody had written, this song sounds like a cover of Master Brew by the Stickmen, and I went back, and I don't know whether I think it's a cover, but damn if it isn't. The Stickmen don't have stuff to recommend to No Means No fans, I would say.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Huh.
Good.
How about that?
Look them
All
on
right.
up. The Master
I'm writing
Brew
it
by the
down.
Stickmen.
So let's go into our second round. Before we do that, though, let me make a little editorial note here. I think we're already at the hour 30, and I think we have to realize that we have invited someone to the podcast who, unlike the rest of us, has to get up
Yeah.
at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
to be at his job, which, for those who don't know, is not that fucking long from now. So let's do this next round in a way that's a little more judicious than we normally would, and talk about these few questions. And we won't. I think we all said a lot of what we wanted to say there, so we'll sort of talk about these few things, do our vote, and then wrap it up. Since the rest of you have already heard hour 30.
I'm gonna
minutes
go
worth
take
anyway.
a quick leak though. Just a second.
So
Yeah, I
you
might
do,
have to pee
you do
soon.
that, and I got to.
Can I pee too?
You go ahead, Jason.
You
and I'll
go.
talk our bar thing. and
You
then
guys
we'll-
go
All right,
pee.
I gotta pee.
So,
Hey, I don't want to be the stickler. I just, it's.
Hey man, you got to wake up at fucking 4:30. That's not being a stickler. That's like
No, I gotta be
I got like
at
6
work at
hours to
4:30.
work. That's a fuck you. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up. Are these songs representative of No Means No as a whole? Well, I mean, yeah, Slayde Says is the most indicative. Give me a fucking break.
Brother
fight
Rat
me.
Slayde Says is like about the most perfect. That would be and has been the introduction song I've used for people.
That's right. That's what I used for
Yeah.
my fucking wife on our second date, right?
Yeah.
Like that was
Oh,
like,
really?
oh, hey, I got it.
Yeah.
You got to listen to this song, because if I can't get this out of my system and have you listen to it, I can't be in your presence anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know that
because
she
you
was
don't even
that
have
impressed,
to
but
be any kind of a punk fan to listen to that
No.
first part and go, "Oh, this is really interesting." And the back and forth. Let's go out and
Exactly
see
right.
what we see. And then when it kicks into the jazzy stuff, you're like, "Oh wow, this is like really funky," and it keeps you going. And then it gets really intense and really screamy and amazing. And it kind of has everything in one.
That's exactly right.
2 songs, but we'll call it one song. It's got everything you need from No Means No in one encapsulation.
Yep. I also played it
Yeah.
for like when I had a college party for a play that we were in, and we had a cast party at my house. I made everyone come into my room. We turned off all the lights, and I blasted this song, and people were fucking blown away by it. So yeah, I'd play this to a newbie. I have many times, very importantly. Would I ever play Dead Bob to a newbie? Not in a billion fucking years.
Not 1,000 years. It's not even. I don't even want to listen to it half the time. So
No. I would never like.
I
I would be at the bottom of my list of like, oh yeah, and they also did this, like maybe, but never, ever, ever, ever. But and I also don't know that it's that indicative. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but I wouldn't put it there. I don't know. On all of these fronts, indicativeness, newbiness, oeuvre, Slayde is like a mountaintop, while as Dead Bob is like, yeah, okay, it's there somewhere on a hill.
And the first time I ever listened to Brother Rat Slayde Says, I think I heard it. I must have heard it separately. When I say it was like the second song I ever heard, maybe it's the second song I ever remember hearing. But but I owned, as Matthew was talking about the CD and stuff, I always knew it as the vinyl EP of Day Everything Became Nothing, and in that order, and it makes much more sense that way.
Yeah,
even though those songs were recorded the exact same time as small parts, and it's all basically one album. They split it up, but they did it.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle.
Brother Rat is 100% an introduction song to No Means No to anybody for sure. Dead Bob,
100%.
Yeah.
Strange Sheep, what about you? What, like representative of the whole, the oeuvre? Would you do it to a newbie?
Yeah. Oh, brother. Yes, Brother Rat with Slayde Says, absolutely.
What about Dead Bob?
Yeah, I think it's got its avenue too. I think both of these pieces are pieces of art.
Would you introduce a newbie to Dead Bob to anyone? Like it's their first song, second song?
No, I don't think I would. No,
Yeah.
I think it's something you got to work your way up to with that one.
Agreed.
But I have
Yeah.
introduced somebody to that with playing Brother Rat because I wanted to see like how good you could be stripped down.
Yeah.
And how good something just like a fucking drum in the middle with some good lyrics just can grab you.
Yep. How about you, Matthew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're both representative. Dead Bob is maybe a little more representative of the early stuff, while Slayde is a spectrum of what No Means No does. And most definitely iconic. They both are iconic. The Dead Bob more because of the album art on an album, and this isn't even on. Whereas Slayde is definitely like Oh No Bruno. It's one that people bring up first in the No Means No song they know, the one that they remember.
It's the number one song that people mention on the Facebook group when we say what's your favorite No Means No song. Slayde is most often the one people put as their Facebook answer.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dead Bob. Would I introduce a newbie? No, I would say no. Slayde, yes, in fact, and I did it just last week. I was volunteering at the Tool Library and talking to this dude for 4 hours that I'd never met before, and I was distracted, and I put on a bunch of other No Means No stuff. Now, which is maybe another good one. But I actually emailed him later, or texted him later to say, hey, you know what? Nah, this one. Do this one. Listen to this one.
How about that?
And this is a guy that I figure might dig his teeth, sink his teeth pretty deeply into No Means No. So, I hope that worked out for him.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
awesome sauce.
Let's do it. Let's vote. Listen, this is not even.
I don't even think we need to.
This is not a million. This is not a million miles close. It's Brother Rat. Slayde Says for me. Jason, how about you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Brother Rat.
Michelle,
Says, of course.
Where are you at?
I third that.
And I
Matthew?
quadruple it. Yeah.
I rolled the dice, and even the dice agree. So listen to that. It's Brother Rat. Slayde Said into round 3, as we all knew it fucking would. So sorry, everybody. If you liked Dead Bob, hey, it's a great song, but you all knew
it's
it
a great band name.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go. Exactly.
Actually, it is. It is a great band name. That is absolutely, and a great tattoo for those.
And
that
if
have
we
it.
didn't mention, that is what John Wright has called his new project, and go buy that Dead Bob on Bandcamp.
I enjoy that Dead Bob much more than the other Dead Bob. I'll say that. So we have put through Tired of Waiting and Brother Rat Slayde Says. I think 2 absolute classics have made it into round 3. Unfortunately, Oh No Bruno is dead with Bob at the bottom. We are as dead.
Can you bring one back
Bob.
in the second round?
Nope. There's no more saving. It's over.
No, I think that's it, right?
There's no more. That's it. It's finished. So, listen, we're really glad you guys chose to spend time with us. If you're someone who hates Facebook, listen, we all do. But, hey, it's a pretty fun place to hang out with us. We're on the Facebook group, No Means Nothing Podcast. We're on Instagram, at No Means Nothing. I'm not really on Twitter anymore. I'm there, but fuck Twitter. I'm sorry. I can't really deal with it anymore. But we're also at No Means Nothing Podcast. No, I'm sorry. No Means Nothing Podcast at gmail.com. We want to hear from you. You know what? I got a little selfishly, even if you just want to write in and tell us you like the podcast, that feels good. Gives us a little boost, keeps us going. We don't mind those too. You don't have to write something that'll go on the podcast. You could just write us. We like to hear from you. We'll talk back.
Again, welcome to all our new listeners, and thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah,
100%.
And thanks to Rob for the good chin wag.
I can't even with that. I'm just gonna anyway. So
and thanks to Jason Lamb for showing up and
most of all.
Shooting with us. And
here he is.
Please look forward to his new book coming out, which is called 3 Goombahs in Holliston.
That's right. It is.
Next
year,
actually
we're gonna change it to that now. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason, do you want to like really quickly give a little plug download about where
Yes,
we're at with the
plug
book?
your
Anything you
shit.
want to say?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, there's not a
read us
whole
out?
lot of new news on it right now, but it's called From Obscurity to Oblivion. It's an oral history of No Means No. There's
God.
probably 400 people in the book that talk about things, and about 600 photos and images.
Oh my God.
It will be out in November if everything goes according to plan. My publisher, PM Press, assures me it will be. It's written, it's done, but the layout has yet to be done. But that's just basically a practical thing. All the images are ready, and you can actually pre-order it now. If you go to pmpress.org, you can search No Means No in there. It's not on the front page, so you got to search it, and it's there. But if you want my advice, don't order it now. Wait until early fall when there will be another pre-order that will involve more things. Like there's going to be some signed copies. I think there might be a T-shirt thing we're working on, and I don't know what else. It's
We'll see.
there's lots
Stay
of
tuned,
possibilities, and what actually comes to fruition may or may not be what I hope it to be. So we'll see.
Nice.
But either way, there will be a book out hopefully before the end of the year.
Oh my
Hell
God!
yeah.
Can you believe this?
Everybody
Can you believe
listening,
this?
everybody listening to this podcast is stoked
Goddamn
about
book.
that. So
Yeah, you gotta buy at least 2 and keep one in the
Buy
shrink wrap
2.
and one to beat off over.
exactly right. Exactly right.
Please
I'm
don't
getting
put that image in my
cremated,
mind,
and one
Matthew.
of
I don't
these
want
is
to
coming with me.
think about people beating off on my book. That's really
Oh
weird.
yeah, you do. So anyway, No
Actually,
Means
I
No
do,
Thing
yeah.
is produced and edited
not
by
beating
yours
off your
truly,
book.
Jordan Flato. Co-hosting and podcast graphics are by the excellent Matthew Kowalik. Michelle Stranges and Grayson are our third and everyone's favorite co-hosts
Yeah,
and official
sorry.
Foley artists. And by Foley artists, I mean there is no Grayson. She just makes that noise herself.
Oh,
Shout out to our official mascot, Teddy. We love you, Teddy.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
thank you to No Means No for the use of stock taking as our intro and outro music. Step into my parlor, said the spider to the fly, and we will share love that will never die.
You sick and tired of the same old thing? Or are you happy enough? Tell me, when does so much become so little? When does too little become too much? When does so much become so little? When does too little become too much?
Fucking golden. All right, so
perfect.
now we're going to have the little secret bit real quick, Jason.
Yeah.
We're going to roll the dice, see what's coming up next. You get to see that.
Okay.
I'm going to paste it in the chat. Don't read it
I
out
need a
loud,
paper.
please. Don't
Oh.
you can react to it, but don't say out loud what it is.
All right.
Here's the first
Griggs,
one.
come on.
That's the first pairing right there. in
Okay.
the
Gotcha.
chat.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Ooh.
good.
Ooh.
Pretty good. Happy
Wow.
about that one. Happy about that one. It's not going to be too tough.
Griggs, come on.
Oh, good. Here's another one. Great. I'm not crying any tears. There's no me running around the room with my hair on fire. There's our another one. It's gonna be a fun episode, but
Ooh.
Oh
ain't
my
no
God.
ain't no controversy here for me, folks. But
Are
I'm
you?
looking
You're
forward to
kidding,
Really?
right?
The first one, I didn't think there was
Like-
any controversy. That one, I think, could be interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
it.
No,
Are you
come
are
on.
you are you fucking like for real?
Yeah.
Any of you for real? There would be any like doubt at all.
Oh,
Yeah,
that second pairing,
Yeah.
Jordan? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm with him.
Wow. Wild. All right, good. This could be a good episode. Yeah, no,
Come
not,
back, Jason.
Not,
Yeah,
not,
right.
a, not a minute. All right, Jason's fucking
Okay.
out of here because he's got to be out of here.
I
at
gotta go
4:30 a.m.
sleep.
Jason, so
Fuckers.
much.
I am
Go
so
sleep.
sorry.
Okay.
Take care, sir. We'll see you later.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Bye,
Okay, bye.
Jason.
Jason.
Bye, guys. Are we had?
Bye.
Wait,
And,
does he need to leave his computer on? Does
Yeah,
he need to
Jason,
leave?
I'm going to
Oh.
stop the recording real quick, and I need your thing to upload. So hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.